Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, and this is your Cannabis Business Podcast. Today we're here live at the World Trade Center in Seattle. We've got some amazing guests here. We're going to be talking about marijuana media, starting with Garrett Rudolph of Marijuana Venture. Garrett is the editor-in-chief of Marijuana Venture, a leading business magazine for the legal cannabis industry and host of the Retail and Dispensary Expo. Marijuana Venture was the first monthly magazine focused on the legal cannabis industry, and the company now has published 80 print magazines since its inception. In 2015, it was named one of the 30 hottest launches out of more than 800 new titles across the country. Prior to launching Marijuana Venture, Garrett was the editor of a twice-weekly newspaper in Eastern Washington. After announcing in a column he was leaving the newspaper, Seattle area businessman Greg James contacted him about pick and shovel opportunities within Washington's newly regulated marijuana industry. Together, they started Marijuana Venture with the idea of targeting business owners, managers, and investors in the emerging recreational cannabis market. The publication began as an 8-page black and white newsletter that quickly gained acclaim among Washington's business hopefuls and eventually grew into an award-winning national distributed 164-page glossy magazine. The company has since expanded into the event sector with Interchange, a twice-yearly buying and selling event for Washington businesses, and the Retail and Dispensary Expo, an annual trade show specifically for cannabis business retailers. Garrett, thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
And then remotely, we have Dave Rheins. Dave is the founder of the Marijuana Business Association. The MJBA is a leading business organization in the fastest growing industry in America. The MJBA provides business intelligence, professional networking, and commercial opportunity for participants in the legal cannabis industry. Founded in 2012, Seattle-based MJBA hosts many cannabis industry trade shows, professional education seminars and workshops, and publishes the most popular MJ headline news on Facebook, mjnewsnetwork.com, Marijuana Green Pages, and Marijuana Channel 1 on YouTube. Dave is a frequent speaker and moderator at Seattle Hempfest, CannaCon shows, Collaborative Conference, Cannabis World Congress, and Business Expo, and a regular columnist for Freedom Leaf magazine. He's a proven business leader with 30 years of experience building and operating best-of-breed media and marketing organizations. Dave has an impressive track record as a senior executive for Rolling Stone, Spin, iVillage, Corbis, Time Warner, and America Online. Dave, thanks for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
Bess Byers is with us with Blaise Creative. Bess is a Seattle-based cannabis photographer and digital marketing professional. Bess graduated from Washington State University with a BA in public relations, moved to Beijing to intern at a graphic design agency before moving to LA to work in marketing research. All that changed in March of 2015 when she received a job offer from Western Cultured, a legal cannabis cultivation company. She slowly transitioned from working in the garden to a sales role and then social media and marketing. By January 2016, Bess joined Grassworks Digital before starting her own company, Blaise Creative, in January 2018, providing content creation, social media management, and other digital marketing services. And independent employment has allowed Bess to pursue her passions, including writing, photography, brand development, influencer outreach, and politics. Bess, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And also remotely with us is Cy Williams of Hi Canada. Cy is the editor and publisher for the long-standing Canadian cannabis culture publication, Hi Canada Magazine, as well as the recently launched Hi Europe Magazine. A staple within the Canadian cannabis community for the last several years, Hi Canada comes out monthly and serves its community by informing and educating Canadians on all things cannabis in both Canada and internationally. Cy, thank you for being here. And Sharon Whitson of Hempfest. Sharon is the Chief Operating Officer of Seattle Hempfest, joining the organization in 2004. She loves saying that a PTSA soccer mom runs Hempfest, as family is a huge focus in her life. Sharon quickly found that her project and business management background could be leveraged to help Hempfest evolve and was attracted by the passionate environment Hempfest creates. In 2012, she founded Hempfest Central, the organization's first office fronted by Hemp Culture, 420 Culture Store. As the 28th annual Hempfest approaches, she looks back on the 28 years of hardcore activism that laid the groundwork for legalization to blossom with great pride and determination. She said, quote, "We've come a long way, we still have a long way to go." And when she's not at Hempfest leading the charge towards Hempfest, she's loving camping, hiking, and spending time on the river with her family. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And about the World Trade Center, we are at the World Trade Center in Seattle. There's several of these. It's one of the largest business networks in the world with 300 offices in 99 countries. And the World Trade Center in Tacoma is the lone trade center service for the Pacific Northwest. They offer trade shows and investments and providing direct access to a large business network. They have seminars, award ceremonies, and conferences that can generate contacts and contracts. Their trade research can clarify opportunities, and their matchmaking can turn those opportunities into trade. And one thing I like about it is their e-commerce store. They partner with Alibaba. It's translated to 18 languages and offers products like CBD, at least for now, to get into hard-to-reach spots like Europe and Asia. They also have good spots for business banking. So if you need an international letter of credit or bank guarantee, World Trade Center is your spot. So I want to transition into innovative experiences, but I will say that the herbicide Eagle 20 that was in a vape cartridge and the mold to gold billboards where people are rolling joints or making extracts has changed the way I buy. So my rec shop purchasing is been reduced significantly. I'm no longer buying vape cartridges. I'm buying medical, outdoor, pesticide-free flower. And so, I think there's exceptions to the rules, but all in all, it's looking just as nasty as the regular economy or sectors. But Sai, I want to ask you about innovative experiences you've seen in Canada. There's a lot of capital up there. A lot of Canadians are filing IPOs. A lot of U.S.-based companies are going up there, filing an IPO or reverse takeover, RTO. So total global entertainment and media revenue is set to see a 4.3 compounded annual growth rate in the next 3 years, sending that overall figure to 2.6 trillion. So this pace is close to historical trends, even as shifting consumer behaviors reshape the industry. So in today's rapidly changing media landscape, a comprehensive view of the industry of current trends across sectors and geographies around the world has become essential. Even as broadband and the internet becomes ubiquitous and the shift from traditional to digital media gains a foothold in even the least developed regions, new technologies, business models, and social media developments are introducing further shifts in both mature and developing markets. Consumers and business demands innovative experiences, and they expect media and entertainment companies to deliver those innovative experiences. The rapid evolution of technology has transformed media and entertainment into an experience-led industry. Meanwhile, new disruptors are putting pressure on businesses from generating profitable growth to talent acquisitions. So how has Canada adapted to meet these changes, and what are some recent innovative experiences that you've seen?
With legalization, it took effect in October. People have been gearing up for, big business have been gearing up for years. Gearing up for, holding on to their innovations in either hemp harvesting technology or custom grow testing, roadside testing technology. Most growers in Canada have to send their flower away to be tested through external sources. A well-known one is Keystone Labs, and I know some of the recent innovations we've seen, especially coming out of Alberta, have been in portable testing units and in portable extraction units. And there's been that's where we see the most exciting growth. That and new and innovative ways to harvest hemp. Now in Alberta, a lot of the oil entrepreneurs over the last, 5 years saw the coming legalization as an opportunity to expand into other things, and hemp harvesting, hemp production has become a huge thing in Canadian prairies. Alberta, a lot of the oil money shifted over into cannabis companies and the cannabis-centric companies and either cannabis or hemp production. A number of the licensed producers and the new legal stores are based out of Saskatchewan, Alberta right now. So we're seeing a lot of big money that came from oil and taking over or being. They made the same advances in technology in Alberta when it came to oil and the oil sands there, and they're just applying those same forces to cannabis. And it's amazing to see the innovations that are coming out of the prairies right now. Of course, there's one company we attend a lot of corporate expos and conferences, where a lot of new technologies are unveiled, be it dehydrators or new lighting or new vertical types of grow. But one of the more innovative programs we saw, or bits of technology we saw recently, was out of Alberta called Floratech, which was a home testing unit that was able to let almost any craft grower test at home, and it tested for like hard metals, THC levels, and a few other key components that the craft grower is going to need to test for and not have to continually send away. So that's one of the more exciting innovations we've seen. The Floratech, the home testing unit is one we've written about recently that we were most impressed with. We've been talking about that for a few months now. In general, we're seeing so much on CBD and pets right now. That's become a lot of our readers are very, very interested in that. Our whole entire editorial team is interested in that. There's the run towards the next wave of legalization here in Canada, which will take effect on October 17th, this year 2019, where they we'll start seeing cannabis-infused beverages. And we're seeing a lot of attention being paid to terpene-infused beverages as well right now. So there's a big ramp up here in Canada to include those get those sorts of products in the shelves, not locally, but nationally. And that includes things like CBD-infused kombucha. And I know Pepsi is gearing up itself with its own run of CBD, I think hemp-based CBD beverages. I know there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of manufacturers here gearing up for that shift in the next stage of laws. Pasta sauces. A lot of there's one brand in particular, I can't actually say their name, but I know that they're already on the grocery shelf here in Canada, and they're gearing up with their own line of terpene and CBD infused pasta sauces, which should make for exciting times here in Canada because we haven't seen anything like that before.
Dave, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
Well, I thought you were getting into sort of some interesting ways that cannabis was being integrated in an experiential way. And I guess, my theme is really the mainstreaming of marijuana. That's what fascinates me. Walking through the shopping malls in the Midwest and seeing CBD, going to the Indiana State Fair and seeing hemp and cannabinoids being discussed among about the most conservative farm agricultural community in the country. Those kinds of things fascinate me, and I think that the message of cannabis, and it goes beyond that, quite honestly, into psychedelics, into alternative medicines, is being addressed in a more mainstream way. And those messages are being delivered cross-platform, and I'm fascinated with that kind of thing.
My favorite recent innovation is how consumers and retail stores are kind of taking the reins on this whole pesticides and mold in cannabis. How a lot of this came out here in Washington was a retail chain. Uncle Ike started the Ike's OK, where he's fortunate. He's a big retail chain who could afford to send some of his products out for testing. I don't know what made him do it the first time, but he started realizing how toxic some of his cannabis was. And he started posting the results and implementing a quality assurance program. He sends out a certain percentage of products every month, and now a retail organization has taken that program over. And really, consumers need to drive what we want, and we need to look at the people that are being tested and are passing the OK program, because we need to care about what we're consuming, because Washington State and the LCB sure doesn't.
And that's a perfect way of a retailer building brand through non-advertising methodology. He was building credibility, he was building a goodwill, and he was actually advancing the rights of the consumers and the viability of the marketplace as a participant. That's a brilliant marketing and a brilliant social contribution as well.
And I think you kind of have to ask too, ultimately, why does this fall on an individual cannabis retailer to be checking pesticides? I mean, basically every other program in the country has a pesticide regimen in place, and here in Washington, we have, in a lot of ways, one of the most mature markets in the country, and yet we still have no state mandated pesticide testing. And really, if not for, if Uncle Ike's doesn't start doing this, was there another retailer that was going to, pick that up? I'm not sure. I don't know. I didn't hear of any that were leaning that direction. But it really took, on one hand, I'm impressed that Uncle Ike's took that torch, but I also look at that and think the state has known about this as an issue. God, I remember the first story, it was 2014 or 2015, of companies here in Washington being testing positive for myclobutanol or Eagle 20. And,
we did
that was 2014 or 2015. It was very early on, and we haven't really made any progress in that category.
Well, and there's a perfect example of the watchdog press. It should not have to be a retailer, and I would suggest that knowing Ian as well as I do, that his concerns were financial liability. You can't sell product as a retailer that will harm your customer, and though that's not been litigated today, in the future it may be. So it's in his best interest to make sure that he's participating in a legitimate market. But I'm going to suggest that it's the role of the marijuana press to be that bulldog, to be the bully pulpit and say, this is ridiculous, that this is a legitimate state licensed industry that's generating hundreds of millions of dollars in tax revenues, that's servicing millions and millions of customers, and should be treated with legitimacy. And the challenge is the federal regulation. Sharon was right, because the FDA is federal and they're the ones that oversee, and the Department of Ag, these guys don't want us to be there, but there's where corporate cannabis will change the day, because the legitimate players will insist upon having the seal of approval before they scale out. And indeed, that's why you're seeing so much movement in Congress among the Democratic presidential and many Republican politicians as well.
So with that, we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. This is the Talking Hedge. I want to thank my guests. We have Garrett with Marijuana Venture. He's the editor-in-chief there at Marijuana Venture magazine. I also want to thank Bess Byers. Bess is with Blaise Creative. We also have right here Sharon. Sharon is with Hempfest. Day one starts on Friday, so congratulations on 28 years.
Mm-hmm. Yay.
On the line with us remotely is Dave Rheins with MJBA, the Marijuana Business Association. I want to thank you for being on the show with us today, Dave.
Thanks for having me.
And of course, Cy Williams with High Canada Magazine and High Europe Magazine. Congratulations on the expansion, and thanks again for being with us.
It was an absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't. And I'm out.
Yay! Thank you.